Hi, this is Jerry Hauser, and I thought I would do a YouTube this time, a little video, instead of giving you something in writing, and welcoming you to the 303 class. Excuse me. I just talked to Stephanie, and she said that my earlier note to you, my welcoming to this class, did not show up online, so I'm going to go ahead and do this YouTube instead and give it a shot. So what I wanted to mention was that the 303 class is an excellent way to introduce you to research methodology. We started with 304, which helps you identify an organizational problem. So you've kind of put it together, you look through the WISE board, several different kinds of lenses help you look at your organization to identify strengths and weaknesses. Well, 303 is going to help you take those weaknesses, something that you discovered was a problem, and set up a research design. During this time, we will actually help you write chapter 1 of your four-chapter research project. So it's a great class. Keep up on stuff and get things turned in. A lot of times students tend to think, well, I can't figure out what to say or what to put in a problem. The issue is get it in writing and get it to us because we can give you feedback. One thing that I always like to do in this class is have a personal phone call with each of you. So as you're struggling to kind of define your problem, and I think defining the question and the issue is probably the most important thing you'll do. Once you clarify that, and I'll be glad to brainstorm and help you with that, then your chapter 1 and the following chapter is going to become so much easier. So let's plan on a phone call, probably next week or the week after, when you feel like you've kind of got your teeth into the problem situation and you're defining what you think you want to research. I think this is an important piece of the Leadership Studies program and actually becoming a good manager. I like the first activity you just did on what do you know as truth and what do you believe. Because what you believe, regardless of how you support it, is how you will move forward in making decisions, supervision, and pretty much everything in life. So there are different ways we can know something or believe something. We can look at authorities, we can look at experts, we have our own personal experiences. But one of the things that has really moved America forward is the scientific method. Can we believe things if we can replicate them again and again? And how good is the data that we are using to make our decisions? Let me give you an example in today's current events. The Affordable Care Act was just supported by the Supreme Court. Now, you may or may not have agreed with this, but let me ask a question. You probably have seen articles, heard news, looked around. What do you think the opinion is of the American people? Is there more people that favor it or don't favor it? Well, it may seem like a simple enough question, and there are several polls that have been asking that question. But it's very interesting that when you break down the question a little bit deeper, you get a completely different response. So for instance, it is about a 50% or more or less, depending on the poll, who say they don't like Obamacare. And so it's not as highly supported. About 40%, I think, say they favor it, and there's about a 10 or so percent that are kind of in the middle and they don't really know. But once you break the question down a little bit further, you get completely different responses. So when you look at the components of Obamacare, or let's call it the Affordable Care Act, ACA, there's subcategories. For instance, one of the categories is, do you approve of having your children be able to be on your insurance until age 26? Well, that's huge. Probably 70-ish% or 80% say yes, that's a good one. Another subcategory of the ACA is, do you want insurance to not deny you coverage because of prior conditions? Again, a very large majority, in the 70% range or more, say yes, we should not be discriminated against because of prior conditions. They also have the component in there, do you support the mandate? Well, this is an interesting question because if you frame it in that respect, there's a huge disapproval of the mandate. But if you took that question and turned it around and said, do you agree that everyone should pay their part and pay into a healthcare system rather than just when they got sick or when they got old? Do you believe people should do that? You get a very strong support saying yes. But when you call it a mandate and say it's a tax or it's a government supported healthcare, then suddenly the perception is that it's a bad thing. So it's interesting. On the surface, the majority of Americans don't support the Obamacare. But when you break down the questions, they actually do support almost all the provisions. It's a matter of language. So this is what I'm trying to get across to you right now, is that what you're going to try to do is create a way of collecting information and data so that if you're going to make a policy decision or want to make a change in your organization, you're collecting data that's reliable, that makes sense, and that is based in fact and not on language, not on asking the question wrong, not on collecting the wrong kind of data to lead you to a faulty conclusion. It's a very important part of it. So this has been a long introduction. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing and reading your responses and interacting with you during this module. We'll see you later. Thanks. Bye. Get this turned off.